Here's my audience. My name is Amanda McMullen, and today I'm going to educate and inform you guys on human trafficking and the issue over it all. Human trafficking is common in today's world, and in the US alone, up to 300,000 people, men, women, children, are being bought and sold internationally across the borders to be human trafficked. The reason that we should all listen to this is because it's becoming more and more common as time goes on, and it can happen to anyone very easily, and I just want to make sure we all know the proper precautions in case it were to happen to any of us. My thesis statement is, learning how human trafficking happens and how it affects people all over the world will help to offer suggestions on how to help prevent it and take precautions. What personally connects me to this topic is my interest in it, and I just want to spread awareness and help people know the precautions they should take to prevent it. And also, these past few years that it has been very common. My mom is very protective of me and my sister, and every single day she pounds it in our heads saying it could happen easily and just telling us to make sure we do the things to make sure it doesn't happen. And it is real, so I just want to make sure everyone knows. And I've done a ton of research on this, and I've read trusty articles, I've watched news clips, I've read news articles, I've watched interviews, looked up statistics to establish my credibility. So for my main points, first I'm going to describe the stats of human trafficking and how to take proper precautions. Secondly, I'm going to explain what actually happens to the victims who get human trafficked. And third, I'm going to discuss how to protect yourself in the media because, especially recently, the media has been a huge way for people getting trafficked. So for the statistics of human trafficking, I visited the Ark of Hope for Children's website and I read an article, and I figured out that 600 to 800,000 people per year are being human trafficked across the international borders. And between the 600 and 800,000, I looked at the gender and age of the stats of who was getting trafficked, and I came to find out that 59% of them are women, 17% of them are girls, children, and then 14% of the people are men, and 10% are boys. And some ways to protect yourself and take precautions are, if someone offers you a job over the internet, make sure you really look and make sure they're a dependable company, because people do that now. Say that you'll make a ton of money if you work for this job and it's just a big trafficking company. Never walk alone at night, and if you are walking, even with your group of friends, always be aware of your surroundings and look around, and don't be down on your phone, because if a human trafficker sees you and knows that you're preoccupied, it's a great way for them to just swoop right in. What happens to the people that gets trafficked? I read an online article by Molly Edmond, and I figured out there's actually two different categories in the trafficking. There's sex trafficking and labor trafficking. And they're both pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to go into detail about what happens in each. So for sex trafficking, the victims are taken to brothels, and they are forced to have sex with people against their own will. They're forced to make pornography videos, do prostitution, do sex acts in front of a big group of people, and obviously all of that against their will. And for labor trafficking, it's just very physically demanding jobs that people get forced into doing. Some might be sweatshops, agriculture, fields, restaurants, mines, construction, just jobs that are very demanding, and you have to be very physically strong and fit for them that you obviously aren't getting paid for when you're getting trafficked. In the Ark of Hope for Children website, I actually learned about some of the ways to protect yourself on social media. I learned that 76% of the teenagers being trafficked, it starts with the internet and messaging, because you know how popular the media is with teenagers these days. And on Alex Reuter's online article, I read that traffickers worldwide, it is increasing the amount of them use social media. They use any app they can. Some being Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Tinder, really any messaging app where you can message someone, send pictures, they are being used. So some things you should do is make sure you're private on your social media and never message someone that you don't know. So I'm going to end with saying human trafficking is a worldwide issue in today's day and age. It has been more and more common occurrence in these past few years, and it happens everywhere and anywhere, even in small towns that you would never expect it to happen. It is vital to take the proper precautions because it could happen to any one of us at any time. It is real and it does happen. Thank you. And there's my audience.